let's quickly look at the angle, the Nigerian elections, the history of violence that has bedeviled the Nigerian elections. Like I said, let's go back to pre-2023 election. The problem we struggle with the Naira redesign, the twin policy of the CBN and MFL, if you may. And then from there, we came out into the part where we now begin to talk about issues surrounding the outcome of what the 2020 election was going to be like. People went to the polls because INEC, the umpire, gave people this assurance that all is well. We believed, we agreed, and we took off. But incidentally, it turned out that even though we took off into the elections, like I said, the campaigns, people sacrificed from their little money to everything to ensure that this panned out well. Incidentally, that didn't work out because by the time we finished all of this, it turned out that what we were expecting ended up not being what we saw. At least the majority of Nigerians, aside of the APC, who the then candidate grabbed it, run, do whatever you want to do. We found out for him that he's become the president. In all of this, violence was also a major part of the 20. A young woman was stabbed on her eye, if you remember. And then a few days ago, I said she was bleeding. She came back with the plaster and everything to make sure that she cast her vote. I know someone who died in Delta State and or the one who died in Rivers State. All of this, even with the beavers, the digital part of the conversation of our 2023 or electronic parts of it, violence was also a major part of Nigerian 2023 elections. I'd like you to quickly come in here, give us an overview, and let's take it from there.
Yes, you are very correct. I remember I participated in this last election, presidential and the National Assembly and the governorship. I was not an accredited polling agent, but acted as one unofficially, for my political party. That the period the elections took place. And I still have some results which I captured on my phones from areas within River State.
Okay.
So I knew the enthusiasm and the efforts, sacrifices a lot of young people, Nigerians will have to make this election, worthwhile one and the one that people will celebrate, as the case may be. But to heighten this kind of enthusiasm, the INEC chairman went to Chatham House and gave a promise, that this is going to be the best elections, Nigerians were going to witness. And Nigerians were so elated and they were so happy. That was why the turnout, was very massive, especially the presidential election. I remember I got to my house on the day of the presidential election around 11 to 12 p.m. At night, because we waited for INEC officials to finish counting the votes in my ward areas and the local areas. We kept vigil. Let me use the word. We kept vigil. Making sure that our votes counted as that time. We were looking for a new Nigeria. With this election. Now we go home, and then we find out at the end of the day, things were not the way we thought it was going to be. For instance, the IRF failed. The transmission of results this year, as case may be, they said it was working during the National Assembly elections which I participated. It worked. Few days after, hours after that period, I don't know what now happened. Why the thing now collapsed suddenly? These are things that should have been questioned, but nobody, raised an eyebrow. Now, I look at all this. I ask myself, the Nigerian police never asked, INEC, what happened on that day? And the last, bastion, which I thought would have questioned, INEC on this, even though the acting president as at that time did not even deem it fit to relieve the head of INEC of his duties, as case may be, based on complaints by Nigerians, etc. In fact, majority of Nigerians, were not satisfied. Let me say millions of us were not satisfied. We thought that as a listening president or as a listening government, what ought to be in a civilized world is that the man at the end of affairs we complain about should have resigned honorably, or the National Assembly and the presidency will come in and say, relieve him of his duties, so that will serve as a deterrent to others who are going to hold office. Lastly, when this did not happen, I was thinking, I've gone to, part of when I recorded everything, when they were reading out the judgment on that day, I took some highlights. I was expecting one of the justices to recriminate INEC and its officials and its conduct.
We'll come to that just before
yes.
When we look at issues and lessons and all of that. But let's talk about we've dealt a bit on Nigerian elections, because to a lot of people, okay, let me also bring it to you. A lot of people have the opinion that there's really no difference between the 2023 elections and the previous elections, from the outcome to the activities, electioneering process, the violence, and the denial of actual votes from some quarters, like the experience you gave. Did this sum it up for you when it comes to activities surrounding Nigerian elections, past and present?
Of course, it was even worse than the other ones. It was 2019 elections. I knew that we had, pockets of, violence, but not as, high as it is or highlighted as it were in 2023. You see, the lady, apart from the lady that they broke her eye, whatever as case may be, we had some other instances in Lagos, in Delta, in Edo, Kaduna, etc. as the case may be. Even in I think in the Enugu area, whatever, where the couples were prevented, I saw these graphic, illustrations of what happened. So I was even thinking that, or in my own opinion, that 2019 election, the conduct was even, better, than what we had in 2023. Why am I saying this? In that 2019 election, there was no, direct promise of, electronic transfer of, results. We were all going out to say, okay, let us wait for INEC to declare their results, as the case may be. But Mahmoud now came based on the 2022 Act and said that direct, transmission of results will be what is going to, entail in this particular election. And it didn't happen. So how do you now compare, 2023 election to 2019? In 2019, there was an element of, semblance of, sanity as compared to this particular one. Two candidates in 2019 did not have this kind of baggage or problems and, whatever criminal imputations or whatever in their own lifestyle or whatever as case may be. They never had it. Okay. The only one we had was that the then President Buhari, they will always say he did not attend a military school area or as case may be, but not in this monumental proportion in terms of forgery as case may be. So for me, 2019 still remain, I think, a better put election than this 2023.